everybody. Welcome to another week of Available Work. I'm Commissioner Joe Esparza here at TWC. And so today we have a series of mini episodes that we're calling Your Business Brief. And a lot of these were recorded during our workforce conference last year. So you're going to hear funny sound as far as the sound quality is great. I still think they're pretty good. But you'll probably hear some background noise there too. But I was very excited. We had a whole bunch of employers and stakeholders all in the same room, and I tried to pester enough of them to sit down with me so that, they were recorded. We've got a good range of guests, everyone from workforce board leaders, some EDs, to employers and industry leaders, and also to some specific individuals I think are just great people and doing great things for our veterans community and for our reinforcing our vocational rehabilitation. Also, some good examples of employers using resources that the state provides. So I hope these are very helpful to you. They're very quick, so you'll get in and out of these here pretty quick. This week, we're featuring discussion with Tom Palladino, Executive Director of the Texas Veterans Commission, and all the resources that they bring to our veteran community. Also, staying on the theme, we have Josue Chaitis, who is from El Paso. He's a program manager for Vets 2 PM. And I think the PM, if I can remember correctly, it was project management. So Vets 2 PM for project managers. So let's go ahead and get into this week's Business Brief. Hey guys, we have Tom Palladino, Executive Director of the Texas Veterans Commission. Tom, obviously, it's a pleasure for you to be here. For me, honor to be here with you. This is our show. Yeah, we're kicking this show off. We're basically just trying to get as many people as we can and get interesting and fun conversations in. But first, I would like to ask you, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you do at the Veterans Commission, and you've been a staple for veterans here in the state of Texas. Talk a little bit about that history.
Yeah, sure, Joe. Thank you for having me on. So I'm Tom Palladino. I'm the Executive Director of the Texas Veterans Commission. So we're the State Department of Veteran Affairs. Every state has a State Department of Veteran Affairs. And in Texas, we do more for veterans than any other state.
That's right.
And so our agency consolidated a lot of services to assist veterans. And it ranges from filing disability claims for veterans, helping them with their education benefits, helping them with their health care benefits. We do women veteran issues. We do entrepreneur, help them start their own businesses. Yeah. And then pertinent to this conference here, we have our employment program. So we work very closely with Texas Workforce Commission in order to work with veterans that are transitioning from the military service into the civilian world in order to help them with their skills, their job skills, to help them apply to get into careers that they can further on after their service in the military. And we also work with employers to hire veterans, which is super important. And we do that in conjunction with TWC and all the 28 workforce boards across the state.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that you guys are always on the go. We're always doing a lot of work. We generally see a lot of each other when we are recognizing employers that are employing over 10% of veterans. That's our We Hire Veterans program, an initiative that we sponsor. So you talk a little bit about a few of the past employers that we've highlighted. I know we just gave one to the Joint Base San Antonio.
That's right.
And we're talking about their contracting folks.
That's right. Yes. Any employer that hires over 10% of the workforce is over 10%. We do a joint award for the Texas Workforce Commission and the Texas Veterans Commission. We Hire Vets Award. It recognizes their commitment to hired veterans. Also in state government, because agencies can also get.
That's right. Yeah.
There is actually a state law in the state of Texas, the only state in the nation that has this, that requires every state agency to strive toward a goal of 20% of their workforce as veterans. Now, we recognize them if they hit the 10%, because there's many agencies that don't even meet the 10%. We try to incentivize the employers to hire veterans. So we work with them on how to do it, because wanting to do it is different than how to do it. So I call it, when we give them a hiring guide, is how not to weed out all the veterans from the interview process, right? Because that's what happens. And as veterans apply for jobs, they all don't make it to the interview. And you ask why? Why is that? And one of the reasons is because when veterans are deployed overseas or they're serving their country in uniform, doing what the country asks them to do, their peers are furthering their civilian careers, which is fine. And but when it's time to apply for jobs, the employer sometimes goes for the people that are already in the industry, and the veterans get cut out of the mix. So we ask the employers, look, give a veteran a chance, right? Prioritize their service, give them a chance, get them into the interview stage so that they can have a chance to compete with the non-veterans.
Yeah, and that transition is incredibly important. It's important to the veterans, but it's also important to their spouses and their families that are transitioning themselves with their service member. Let's talk a little bit about any partnerships that we're doing. We also partner with the Texas Veterans Land Board. There's just a ton of resources out there in the state of Texas that help veterans buy. You can get a home loan. What else is out there for those resources?
The land board has they have cemeteries, veterans. They run the state veteran cemeteries. Yeah. They also have the state veteran homes, right? Yep. For the veterans that are. They have a land program which they do low interest loans for veterans for land and for homes, right? And they have a call center that helps to channel the calls into the right resources. We work with the Texas Workforce Commission, which has the Texas Veterans Leadership Program. We hire Vets Award Program. We work with all the 28 workforce boards to make sure they do priority of service to veterans. We have to implement federal law, which says that all the American Job Centers, all the workforce have to prioritize service to veterans. We screen the veterans for the proper service. We do job fairs. We try to connect those veterans to the jobs that they meet their needs. We also work with all the military installations across the state as part of their transition assistance program. Yeah. And to make sure that we're in there, we get to brief. We work with Department of Defense. We work with the VA. We work with Department of Labor, right? Department of Labor, Veteran Employment Training Services. We also have we work with them in order to help those transitioning service members get to where they need to go. Lastly, we have a grant program. We award about $45 million a year to nonprofits and local government in order to help veterans. And there's a multitude of services, mental health, general assistance, veteran treatment courts, renovating homes. But we also have employment services there, which helps them with getting them to the right place. Yeah. And I just want to mention this last thing, is we work with the Texas Veterans Network, which is out of Combined Arms, in order to get veterans connected to the resources that meet their needs. And it's a statewide database.
That's right.
Which gets it's a referral network.
That's great. And Tom, we always want to thank you. I know Chairman Corner was here coming to our conference today, but you guys always provide your resource tables at our Texas conference for employers, so that they're available to employers to talk and ask these questions about what kind of resources are they able to help support for their employment. So we always appreciate it. We're going to continue to be working together. I'm very excited to sit across from you again and look forward to more programs and projects in the future that we can combine forces.
Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate being here and I appreciate being your partner.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your conference, man.
Thank you.
Well, Sway, thanks for joining us. So, folks, we just ended our super session earlier today, where we present some helpful tips to the entire conference. And one of our super session that we hosted was basically the pipelines of workers that we can continue to do. Well, obviously, veterans is a huge topic, very near and dear to me. Josue Chaitis from El Paso is basically he's with a group called Vets 2 PM. That's project manager. And we invited him here to tell his story, and I kind of wanted to just capture his quick oversight of what you're doing. Josue, how'd you feel up there, man? You got that taken care of? I think you did a great job, by the way.
Well, that's what everyone says. I was like, "Are you being nice to me?"
Yeah.
But
was it that?
Yeah, I was like, "Hey," but I'm very thankful for the experience. Right, it's obviously the first time I had to do something like that. I mean, the military kind of prepares you for like talking in front of large groups of people.
Do it. So. Yeah, just go ahead. Just got to do it.
Yeah, just get in there and get out. But I loved it. I mean, I got surprised by some of the applause and stuff like that. So then that definitely calmed the nerves. And I'll definitely shout out Workforce Solutions Borderplex.
That's great. Yeah, good for them. I think so. You're about a year and some change out right now. When'd you get out of the Army?
Christmas is when I got out the Army. Last Christmas.
Yeah,
so I'm going on 1 year now.
Oh man, yeah, not even a year.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's fast.
Yeah,
it's so fast.
What and you kind of saw the need for more support in transitioning veterans out of service and into careers, right?
Yeah, I mean, really, when I was, I was at Fort Bliss, I was going through a career skills program, which is a program for the United States Army, very similar to the DoD Skill Bridge program. And in that, I was learning an IT application and get a certification in that, right? But while I was there, right, like I looked at it and I'm like, all right, well, this is in demand. But then I looked at like the job market, the kind of jobs that I was going for, and then the salaries I was targeting, and I realized I'm like, hey, well, I could pursue different kind of certifications, more management focused certifications, and that's what I had already had. And then from there, I was like, well, this is kind of working for me. So, what do you do in the Army? I learned this really well. Like when something goes well, just do it again. Like, hey, how do you do tomorrow's range? The same way we did last week's range.
That's right.
Unless it was bad. Like, and then you start over, right? So, that's really what it came down to. And I'm like, hey, it started with just, sound concept, right? Hey, veterans have a ton of management experience, right? I drew on some of my experience from like whenever I start a class, right? I'll tell them like, hey, one of my big projects that I did is I taught the Iraqi Army how to breach into Mosul. You're welcome. Right, so that's like one of my first things I do, right? But that's like a super complex, a lot of operations, a lot of projects that were involved into that, micro projects as well. And then it wasn't like an A to Z kind of thing. It was like A to D to C to B to F to Z to G. Like it was all over the place, right? But from that, what I learned is that I can operate in a complex environment, but I can manage in that environment. But I just don't call it management. We call it leadership. But once I started my certification journey, my training and stuff like that, I learned that it's called management, not leadership. And I differentiated the two. And then from there, I was like, well, veterans have this management skill set. They have this management experience. They can qualify for some of these industry recognized certifications. Like the most noteworthy that I teach is the PMP, Project Management Professional Certification. And pretty much say you serve about 4 or 5 years in the U.S. military, you've been running tons of projects. And whether you have a bachelor's degree or not, you have experience in running projects that's correlational, that that's transferable to corporate America as long as you learn the language. So I started with that. It was a sound concept. I kind of proved it with myself. And then I was like, well, how can I bring this en masse? How can I make this easier for people, right? Because then there's already existing lines of funding to provide this stuff. But then I was looking at it like, well, what's paying for the course that I'm in now? And then that's where the ball started rolling. Then I went down this, started finding out about WIOA, state grants, other federal grants, and how it all kind of ties in together. And then I learned a lot more about workforce boards, and
that's great. Yeah,
pretty much just go from there.
Because those resources are out there, and that's what we're trying to do: educate our employers, educate our economic development folks about the resources that are available to bring that around. So that's 2 p.m. Is it local only to Fort Bliss? That's where you're from El Paso. You went to you were stationed. You transitioned out of Fort Bliss, right?
Correct. So like VetsCPM is actually a nationwide training company.
Yeah.
They've been in business for going on 10 years now. This 1st of January, right? The way I found out about them was just kind of going through my credentialing journey, and I went on credentialing opportunities online, found out about the PMP, certified manager, other certifications, but I pretty much went through all their training, and it was like, it's hard to explain, but like, for example, one of the things when I learned about Tuckman's Ladder, right, which is like, hey, forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning, right? With that ladder, when I read those words, I'm like, well, I already knew that. I knew when you first start a team, you get to know each other, then you're like kind of not working that well together, right? And then you normalize your stuff, and then once you normalize the way of operating, then you start being better, right? And then what I learned through my journey, like the first book I read, which is how to get your certified manager certification from VetsCPM.
Yeah.
When I read that book, I was like, that's like one for one. I know exactly that. I just don't know the terms. And I kept finding out more and more. And pretty much like once I found that out, well, then I realized I have a transferable skill set, something that actually works, that I can leverage, that I can use in corporate America. And from there, like, it's kind of funny how the whole thing kind of started, because really it honestly started with a cold email to the chief operations officer of VetsCPM, and which I had been talking to him. His name's Jeremy Burdick, right? I've been talking to him because I did one of the other courses, the then Master Project Leadership course, but it was just a cold email. I'm like, hey, I love what you guys do. You guys got a great product. It's helped me a lot. I think we could do this at scale, and this is how we can do that at scale. But really what it came down to is just using industry best practices, right? Yeah. And then leveraging that and creating evidence-based practices, and then focusing on value for the customer, which is the students that we have, the populations that we serve, and what do they find value out of it is jobs, self-efficacy, these certifications, right, to try to kind of move on. And I know it's a lot of kind of stuff tied together, right? But that's really where it comes from. And then Pretty much I came up with a business idea, created a business case, pitched it, and they said, go ahead and run, which is, as a non-commissioned officer in the United States Army, that's all I need to hear.
All right, go get it done. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really it. And
That's great.
Yeah.
Josue, that's awesome. And again, like I said earlier, thank you for continuing to serve the community, serve our veteran community, and ensure that I think a lot of stress is lost on coming up to your end of active service and knowing that you have a job waiting for you and that you're going to be fine. You're going to find a place. Hopefully, you like doing what you're doing, and you find a good home with a good company. So I think what we want to do is continue to reach out and talk to employers out there that are listening that are interested in hiring veterans, that are hiring veterans trained by Josue. We can definitely connect you with him, definitely connect you. We want to continue to open those pipelines for you and have some landing spots for some of your graduates that are transitioning out of Fort Bliss specifically for you locally. But also, always see if you can contact us if you're looking to hire veterans. We strongly encourage that. You get turnkey leadership, motivation, and you get a lot of good jokes about the place that usually come with veterans.
Yes, you do. I mean, it brings a camaraderie, but now I'm always here for all that. I'm always here for, at the end of the day, just helping my military community, right? Instead of complaining about a problem, I'm going to do something about it, right?
Right on. Yeah.
And that's really what it's all about.
Awesome. Glad you came out, and I'm glad to see you again. All right, Josue, thank you so much.
All right.
Have a good one.